Right there, please.
How are we? Boys and girls, you alright?
Alright, get in from
right.
This is Johnny experience.
Right. And then the normal rabble. Have we got to be dead professional now on this one? You can't talk nonsense. Whatever.
You can still sing for us if you want.
Sure, we can have a bit of nonsense.
John, just a bit of fallout from last weekend. I mean, good news is that Johnny's dismissal has been rescinded. I guess it's frustrating because obviously the right decision's been made, but it doesn't kind of help you now, does it really?
No, it doesn't help. It helps us that we get him back, but you know, we suffer the consequences of having to change the shape and having to change the keeper. Which, you know, and then ultimately the other decision that's been proven wrong by all the referees. You know, the penalty. You know, so two major decisions getting made wrong at the same time. But you know, you have to move on. If you wailed and moaned about it and focus too much of your energy on that, you'd lose track of what you're trying to do going forward. So we'll learn from it. We'll draw a line from it. Draw a line under it.
Your new keeper was thrust into action pretty much straight away, wasn't he?
Yeah, he nearly saved the pen as well. He went the right way. Unlucky. It's a good pen actually. He took it well with it.
He was obviously a bit of a late signing, that. I mean, was there a danger you might go into that match without a backup goalkeeper?
No, we had Tony Morgan anyway, so you know, there's no issue with that.
And with regards to Sam Finley, he had until I think 6 o'clock yesterday to answer this charge of violent conduct. I mean, what can you bring us up to date with that?
Well, you know, what you see doesn't lie, does it? You know, he's got involved like other players have got involved as well. You know, he's being foolish. You know, I know Sam, and there's not a great deal of malice in him. I think he's tried to get involved in something. He hasn't actually caught the lad, but he's put his foot in there where he could endanger someone. And he knows it's wrong, and he's apologised to the club. We'd already dealt with it internally ourselves on Monday, so you know, further action we have to live with it. And you know, Sam is apologetic for it. He knows he shouldn't be doing it. And we've had to have a word with a few of our lads, you know, to say, listen, we can't be getting involved in these situations. It doesn't look good for the club. It doesn't look good for football in general. The shame is that he wasn't the only person who transgressed in that incident. And yeah, you know, he's been the one because it's been highlighted on Twitter and social media, and that's a danger that could creep into the game. But what is creeping into the game, and you know, if you're gonna do it, it should be independent, and every aspect should be looked at, and every aspect of the game should be looked at, because there was lots went on in that game that, you know, could have been punished.
It was obviously a bit of a kind of heated end to it. I mean, when you look back on reflection in terms of the game itself, I mean, you just gutted now that you didn't come away with something last weekend.
Well, I was absolutely devastated. I've never been as angry over a couple of decisions as well I was on Saturday night, but you know, it's calmed down now, and I'm looking forward to football again and trying to win games. There's no doubt in my mind. I've looked at the game again. There's no way we deserve to lose the game. You know, they had 3 shots on our goal. One of them was a penalty they shouldn't have had. So we shouldn't have lost the game. But if we play like that with that spirit, that should see us okay for the end of the season.
Is that encouraging for you too? You're having to kind of introduce a few new faces this last couple of weeks with a few additions you've made. The fact that they're playing quite well, is that encouraging you?
It is, yeah. And it was a blow that we moved hell and earth to get, or heaven and earth, sorry, to get January back, and then, you know, unfortunately, as personal circumstances, that means he can't play on Saturday, so that was a blow. But you know, these things you have to deal with.
Heck of a re-signing, that, isn't it, for you?
I was delighted. You know, everyone knows my thoughts on January, and hopefully he'll replicate the form he showed last season.
Things happen when you move clubs, and sometimes it doesn't quite work out for one reason or another. But are you surprised he's not perhaps had more of a chance there?
It's difficult when they're bringing a lot of players who are unproven at that level and playing them all at once, which is what was the case at the start of the season. And obviously he lost his shirt, and the new manager didn't think he wanted to go down that direction. He won't be the first or the last that happens to. And I've got I was quite a bit of a journeyman myself, so I've been to many clubs where my face didn't fit. But you know, you do find places where you do enjoy what you're doing, and you know, Johnny certainly enjoys what he's doing here.
So to move on to the game this weekend, when the draw was made and it was Derby or Southampton, what was your initial thoughts? You know, either of them are going to be a tough game, and we know that. But you know, we're pleased that we're at home.
that gives us more of a fighting chance. And you know, I was intrigued by how readily all the pundits and the commentators were to write us off. You know, and when I was watching that replay, it didn't matter who was going to win that game. They were going to have a walkover against Accrington, according to the pundits. Well, you know, there's a little bit of motivation for our players to try and prove them wrong.
You can actually use that then, can you reckon?
Oh, you'll have to, yeah. You know, lots of people have wrote us off time and time again, and they've been left with egg on the face. So, you know, we do enjoy trying to confound. Is that a good word? Confound? Confound.
You beat Ipswich in the previous round, obviously same level as Derby County, but are you facing a much different proposition here for the way that the two clubs have had a season so far?
Well, you're facing a team who's in form, aren't you? You know, and Ipswich weren't in form, but at the time we weren't in form either, to be fair. So, you know, it's a game that we're all looking forward to. We know that we've got good players, they play good football, we play good football, so it should make for a really entertaining game. You know, we do try and pass it, they do try and pass it. Might be like Barcelona versus Real Madrid.
When Frank Lampard went in there at the start of the season, what were your thoughts?
Well, you know, he's well educated in the game, and you know, I've got a lot of respect for him. You know what he's done as a player, and I think he's done well as a manager already. You know, I know he's only in his infancy of his managerial career, but he has had an unbelievable club to start off with. And you know, I hear people getting plaudits for taking lower clubs, meaning anything outside the Premiership. It's a great level to start the Championship, you know, and you know there's plenty of managers who have to start a lot lower than Frank, but you know, fair play to him, he's shown that he can cope with it. And it's interesting, you're looking really at the parallels, you know, parallels throughout the career, but the parallels with him and Steven Gerrard, you know, both taking the first jobs and just seeing how they're both fair, and they're both doing, you know, you'd have to say they're both well above average, you know, in what they've done so far this season. So well done to them, and you know, I hope he continues to have success, but just not on Saturday.
Obviously, as you say, it's a really good level for him to start out, but it still takes, I get, a little bit of guts, doesn't it, to go from being such a great player to taking the step into management and not? No,
it doesn't take guts at all.
Why not?
Well, you've been under a job that there's about 400 managers out of work who would jump at the chances of having that job at Derby. There's plenty of lower league managers who've earned the stripes, who've done it remarkably well, who maybe deserve a crack at them type of jobs and haven't got it. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve that chance, but he certainly hasn't. He hasn't sort of taken any guts, hasn't taken a risk. You know, that's a massive, massive job, and to get a first go, it's, you know, he's fortunate in that way, but give him his due, he's embraced it and he's done really well, and you've got to take your hat off to him for that.
It could go horribly wrong though, couldn't it? If it's your first job in management, you could make a right balls up of it.
And how much you do. That's the same for any level you start at, isn't it? You know, my first job in management was Aston United. That could have gone horribly long. It's here to got the sack after 3 years. So you pick yourself up, you dust yourself down. You know, getting the opportunities is the hard part. You know, taking them, well then you can say that that's an equally hard part, but you know, you've got to get them opportunities in the first place. Now, if you're a well-decorated player like Frank is, with multiple caps and wide experience of the game, well then you probably merit getting that opportunity. You've got to take it, and at this moment in time he's taking it. And fair play to him, well done.
We spoke for a lot of years about the FA Cup and being in it and trying to get a run in it and what it can do to a football club. I mean, you have a chance now of making history. You've never got beyond this stage. I mean, just put that into kind of context for us.
We've had some great cup runs. I think we've reached this level, or this round 3 times now, is it? And they've been exciting journeys, and possibly a little bit different now because we're at the highest we've ever been in the league. And the thing that I still find surreal is when we had the first round draw of the FA Cup, which we used to always look forward to. It was so much an anti-climax. But at the time we were fourth in the league, there was only 3 bigger clubs in the draw than us, and that was mind-blowing, to be honest. I never thought I'd get that to that stage, I reckon.
If you beat Derby County at the weekend, where would it kind of rank, do you think, in terms of cup upsets? Or are you of the view still that if you beat Derby, you wouldn't be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised if we beat them. I'd be delighted, but I wouldn't be surprised. But you get to, not the cynicism in me, but you get to the stage in football where nothing surprises you. You know, Derby are the favourites, and rightly so. That, you know, they've got a team who are pushing to try and get into the Premiership, so they should be favourites for the game. But you know, our home advantage, our fans will be absolutely magnificent. I know they will. I know Jason's already planning a big flag show, and so the Clayton Hands will be in absolutely top form on Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know the players are as well, so you know, bring it on.
I mean, it goes to show where football is, isn't it? I think we talked about this before, about the differences between League One and the Championship. It is sizable, isn't it? I mean, you look at what Derby are going to bring on Saturday, some of the playing they could play actually call of the weekend. I mean, you look at some of the signs that they've made. The gulf between the two levels, even though the gap between Stanley and Derby in terms of league positions isn't massive, the gulf in terms of finances is huge.
Oh, in finances, I mean, you've got about 12, 14 teams who are Premiership clubs in waiting, you know. And when I think of Derby, I just think back to the Derby teams of the 70s, and they used to enthrall me, you know. I used to really like Kevin Hector as a player, and tried to emulate him on the school playground. And they had Alan Hinton, Colin Todd, Roy McFarlane, really good players. Franny Lee had a little spell there as well, which really made my day, because I used to like Franny Lee as well. And they had some really good cup runs as well. I remember Roger Davis scoring a great goal once. It was against Arsenal, he nicked it round the keeper and put it into the top corner. And you know, Derby will always be a big club in my eyes, and you know what they're doing. You know, they've got obviously, well, say a new stadium, because you think about the Derby teams in the baseball ground, don't you? But they'll always be a big club in my eyes. So you know, in that respect, to play them in a game, it's good, and hopefully we can beat them.
Cool. Good luck.
Thank you.
Does the fact that Derby are such a big club in your eyes add a little bit of romance to it, more so than perhaps it might have done if it was a...
Yeah, it does. You know, they're one of the clubs that not so much had a soft spot, but I always liked. You know, obviously I'm a Liverpool fan through and through, but after that I'd go Leeds Derby from me growing up, or players that tried to emulate.
Yeah, after Alan Clark.
Yeah, I really like Kevin Hector now, just like the way he played. And they had some good players, and obviously I love Franny Lee and Roger Davis. Obviously, you might be too young to remember it, but he missed an absolute sitter, one of the worst open goals you'll ever see, and then people then forget that he scored some good goals after that, but he sort of got cast into the bargain bucket bin of video misses. Yeah. But he scored some good goals after that, and they had a good team. They were good players. And obviously they played on a mud heap as well, which is even more kudos to them.
Obviously it's going to be close to a sellout. It might not be quite a sellout yet. How much of a difference can that make? I know you've always tried to encourage as many people to come down here as possible. It'll
be a cracking atmosphere, and you know, I think it's Derby's fans' first chance to come here as well, so a bit of novelty value as well. But yeah, the atmosphere will be brilliant, and I know our players definitely respond to that.
Is there a hope that maybe you can perhaps encourage some of these floating Stanley fans who have turned out for this game and maybe came to Ipswich as well to actually come down on a Tuesday night and a Saturday in the league? Yeah,
we've got to try and get them on a regular basis, but you know, we're trying to offer different things outside football to entice them. It's our job to try and put on a show on Saturday, and that's another incentive for us to play well.
And there's a lot, I know, you know, every time Stanley have had a game, and there's been quite a few clubs that have come this season that won't have been to this ground before, the reaction has been nothing but positive in terms of atmosphere, in terms of friendliness, in terms of the bar afterwards and that kind of
Yeah, it's a great place to come. You know, the atmosphere is great. They see good football. You know, we do try to play the football the right way. And as long as I'm here, we will try to do that. But you know, the whole experience, that's the owner is pushing that really, and he's doing really well with it. And you know, we've got to try and foster that. You know, bringing the players in after the game to mingle with the fans as well helps. The staff coming in helps, And I think, that we're trying to get a unique selling point, and I think that certainly is one.
Where are we on team news? Is anybody out in terms of...
Possibly I might have one in for Saturday.
Right, okay. So you're still looking to strengthen?
Well, if I'm getting one in, I'd hope so, yeah. I'm not looking to weaken it by bringing someone in.
Good point.
Well made.
Generally available?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
The new keeper available, is not cup tied?
No.
And just lastly, obviously you're at opposite end of just 1,000 games in charge. Frank Lampard's in his infancy as a manager. What kind of sort of advice would you offer to a new manager, particularly a British manager as well?
Concentrate on your recruitment. Concentrate on players, because getting good players makes your job a lot easier, and you can win games with good players, and that makes you an even better manager when you're winning games. Then
Something Ashley Cole said.
You're only as good as your players.
Have you come across Frank before in any?
No.
Didn't think so.
He did send a pair of boots to auction for me. One of my friends dad, who used to play with at Morecambe, and we had a benefit night for him, and he did send a pair of boots down. So
you talked really well about how big name players getting their opportunity in management, and how they go in at a higher level and stuff. Is there an element when you look at sort of, certainly you've got Frank Lampard and Steve Gerrard at Rangers, and say Thierry Henry at Monaco and stuff, is there an element of sort of thinking, well, it wouldn't be a bad thing if they struggle a little bit, if they find it difficult?
No, I don't know whether it's the empathy in me, but we're all doing the same job, and I don't like to see anybody struggle. I like to see people thrive, and I think you have to be positive. And if you've got that positive outlook in life, you want other people to be positive as well. You want people to do well, and I've got a lot of respect for them people as players. So the last thing I'd want to do, I've got so much enjoyment out of watching them people play. The last thing I would want them to do now is fail. Obviously, I want Frank Lampard to fail on Saturday only because he's playing against me. But I'd like to see him go on and manage a Premiership side and take Derby to the Premiership.
How do you square that with? There must have been times during your career when you felt that, given the resources I've got here, I'm not getting recognition, perhaps for the job I'm doing.
Well, that's something you just have to live with. Whatever way you dress it up, I'm not. You can't have your head in the sand. The most famous people regarding football are players. Always have been, always will be. And you'll get the odd manager who transcends that. You like see your Mourinho's and your Alex Ferguson's. I absolutely idolised Bob Paisley, and you couldn't get a more low-key figure than Bob Paisley. And yet the trophies he won, he probably didn't get the credit for it. But players will always be the ones who are at the forefront of football. Not always for the right reasons. And some are larger than life, but they're the ones who will automatically get talked about ahead of managers who are playing, say, at the lower level, and you've just got to accept that.
Just finally, for me, the sort of romance of the cup sometimes can be lost in the finances and the reality and the sort of more everyday decisions that have to be made. Ultimately, does this? It still comes down to taking a small club into the next round against potentially landing a big one, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is, and the money that we've made alone this season has been a massive boost for us, and took a lot of the pressure off the chairman and myself. Looking at our budget for this year and next, our budget is directly correlated to the fans that come through the gate, and it's a well documented fact. We've got one of the lowest attendances, if not the lowest attendance. So we have to accept that, but drive through it, and it has been a big help, and a win on Saturday would be an even bigger boost. It could influence what we do next season as opposed to what we do this season. But take the money aside, the thrill of winning a game in any competition should be good. The thrill of beating someone who's ranked above you in terms of division, not you get that opportunity plenty of times in the league, but ranked above you in division. And also, it's our players getting pitted against household names, and a chance for them to say, well, I can do this. I can do this on a stage obviously they've got the TV as well, so they have a bigger stage because they're on the television and national TV. But the chance for them to pit the wits and try and compare how they're doing against players who are obviously ranked higher than, but ultimately paid a very, very lot more than our players are paid. A substantial amount more.
Great.
Cool.
Is it just one from me? Is it a similar team talk you give to the players that because that you did to Ipswich as you do to Derby? Is that?
Our team talks are quite similar. You know, as it was alluded to before, I've had over 1,000 games. You bore yourself sometimes with your team talks, to be honest. There's only certainly so many things you can say in a different way. But what we have to remind them of is what makes us special, what we're good at. And that's what we did against Ipswich. And we got a response, and that's what we'll be doing on Saturday, you know. We are good players. We've got very, very good players in our squad who are capable of handling the ball, who are capable of unlocking defences, who are good players, good pros. And they also got a tremendous spirit. And we have to have that right from the off. And, you know, that's the point that we will be pushing on. You know, when it all boils down to it's 11v11 on Saturday, it's not their fans versus our fans. It's not the fact that they're a top championship side with a load of money. When it goes down, when the nitty-gritty, it's 11v11, and they've all got 2 arms and 2 legs, haven't they? So let's get on with it.
Thank you.
Cheers.